Hey, this is Ona Christie. Welcome to Art of Awakening. And today I want to address a comment that was made on a video that I released recently about the Vesica Pisces and Armor of God and Sword of Light. And we had a subscriber left a comment and they said, Armor of God, yes. Vesica Pisces, no. That is part of the flower of death deception we have been enslaved to for thousands of years. It is a part of the Metatronic reversals we have just removed from the earth and are trying to get away from. Okay, so first of all, I love when people bring up things like that because there's always going to be various sides to almost everything, okay? So the more we can be looking at things from various angles, the more we can understand them, right? So it's always good to keep your mind open, and also to be kind of looking for, does that not feel right? Does this, what else might be going on? There's always going to be multiple layers, especially when it comes to symbols. Okay, so and in fact, that comment that this subscriber made opened up so many different pathways of thoughts that it was like, oh my gosh, I could do a whole series of videos, and I might, just kind of spawn from this. But for now, I want to talk about this idea of symbols being co-opted, okay? Because any archetype is simply an energy. Energies can spin in different ways, okay? So you can have any kind of archetype or symbol can be manifested in a positive way or a negative way, typically, right? Okay, say feminine energy. It can be this divine feminine, which is beautiful and creative and so forth. It can also go dark. We can get the dark feminine, which can be very manipulative and kind of destructive, right? Same with masculine energy. It can be very procreative, protective, and so forth. It can also, as we know, be a very, very destructive force, the masculine energy. All right, so something like the Vesica Pisces, same deal. And I think this kind of goes into, it can be with symbols, because symbols stand for these deep things, right? And we can get very, very entrenched. So one thing to be aware of whenever we're working with any archetype, and I'm talking any, and I'm including archetypes like Archangel Michael, like Jesus Christ, any of those, right? They can be co-opted. And the danger with that is that when we get invested in a symbol, an archetype, any kind of energy, then it tends to put blinders on, right? So when we're really invested in something, that's when the shadow side can come in and do its damage, because we're not seeing it. So anytime you're not seeing something, that's where the trickster likes to creep in. Okay, so which is why I'm really, really glad that this individual posted this, because it is very easy to say, oh, okay, whatever symbol it is, whether it's the flower of life or the Vesica Pisces or the cross or whatever it is, can be co-opted by that dark side. A few examples, the swastika, right, which is an ancient kind of symbol of life. And it's a very positive symbol. And we all know what happened to that in the last century, right? Where the Nazis took that symbol and turned it into a symbol of death. Very recently, the OK symbol, right? Okay, has been used by white supremacists, right, to symbolize, their agenda. And so a few words about that. It's because the symbol is what you really, like, we've got the power within us to determine which way we want that energy to spin, how we're going to use that symbol, how we're going to view that symbol, how it's going to manifest in our lives, right? And so just taking the OK symbol, for example, right? This is also the Gyan Mudra, right? This is a very, very powerful mudra, a hand position that works with the body, right? It's this, divine supremacy of the divine, right? And we do this in meditation to help us connect and align with divine energy. And so a bunch of whacked out fringe people who are very misdirected have co-opted this symbol into something that is completely diametrically opposed to this very positive, thing that it does. Does that mean that we should no longer use the Gyan Mudra? That we should no longer say, hey, okay, right? This is awareness, right? It's also activating the divine masculine within us, which will draw the line and say, hey, this is not okay. And this doesn't mean that we have to forcibly go and tackle people to the ground, right, and beat them silly because they're using the Gyan Mudra in a way that's, blasphemous. They've got freedom to do that. They have the freedom to do that. But what's in our power is to not give them power, right? Is to not be like, oh no, they're using it to symbolize white supremacy, so nobody should use this anymore. Okay? That's just feeding into it. That's giving them the attention and giving them the energy and feeding that, right? And the same goes with something like the Vesica Pisces. Okay, so yes, quite likely it has been co-opted, and it's really good to be aware of that. Very good to be aware of that, because if we're not aware of that, then it can start happening right within it opens doors for it to start happening within our own psyches. Always need to be aware. But once we're aware, then giving it all sorts of resisting, and like there's ways to resist that's not resisting. It's just like you're drawing the line versus actively, oh, we can't do that, blah, 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 fighting against this. Oh, did you know this is blah, 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 blah. Okay, yes, we need to bring it to attention. So, yes. And we also need to recognize when, not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, so coming back to the positive meaning of the Vesica Pisces being this union of polarities, right? And the amazing growth and expansion that can come out of that. That can be co-opted, of course, because that's life, that's expansion. To co-opt it is death. And that's another video, because there's a lot to that. But I hope that this has been helpful. I think that awareness is always in order, and it's always good to be aware of shadow sides of things. So again, thanks for that comment, and thanks for listening. I love you all, and we'll catch you again soon.